and I'm here to assist in the presentation. And if you have any questions, you can that I can assist you with, just direct them to me privately if you're having issues with technology or whatever, and I can help out. And your chat monitor will be Kathy Saunders, and I will turn this over to her.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm assuming by now that you know how to use the chat. If you don't, I'll do it really quickly. Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little button that says chat. You click on that. Chat will pop up on the right side of your screen. At the bottom, it says type message here. You put that in there. If you have questions, you can't hear her, or she said something that you need some explanation or whatever questions, I will direct those to Corinna. And I am the one who's going to introduce this wonderful lady to you. She is on the international faculty. She's been a member of Sweet Adeline since 1988. She is a certified music judge, a master director, a member of the international faculty again, and she is the marvelous, wonderful tenor of the 2012 champion quartet Martini. She's also served, she's just an all-around lady. Served on the Pitch Pipe Editorial Review Board, chaired the Arranger Certification Program Task Force. She's a former associate director of Lionsgate Chorus, musical director of West Coast Harmony Chorus. Both are there. They are in Vancouver. She loves coaching, arranging. She's got some arrangements available through Sweet Adelines and SMP. She lives in Halifax, Nova Scotia, on the east coast of Canada. And we are very fortunate that she has joined Region 1. So that is my introduction. Take it away, Corinna.
Thank you very much. Where you found all that stuff.
Hey.
Okay, I'm going to share. And we're going to talk about music selection today. So, and is this chat screen, can you see that, or can you just see my screen?
Good.
Okay, good. Excellent. So now I can see both. Okay, so music that shows you off. Karen gives me the titles and then I have to come up with something under it. So, but this is a class I've taught before, but not for a long time. I've tried to revamp it somewhat for this. And we're going to talk about not just, not so much what makes music strong, but actually what makes music a good fit for your performing unit, quartet, chorus, so out in and outside of the context of a competition. So, so these are some of my thoughts on music selection and the things I thought about as a director and the things I think about as a quartet member when I'm trying to choose a piece of music. And as a director, as a quartet, you have to choose the music in a group. So we'll talk a little bit about that process too, and some ways to facilitate that, because that can be one of the hardest things, I think, is 4 people agreeing on a piece of music. As a director, you're working in a group as well, but often you've got the only veto power in the group, so it makes it a little easier. But still, the chorus, when you pick something that your chorus is just not excited about, because they can't help themselves. They reject it with their voices. So we're going to talk about some things to think about while we're choosing music that will help us maybe avoid that process of choosing something that isn't going to work, but it was still going to happen sometimes. What a positive start. Let's go. I'm going to have you have a look at this performance as we get going.
Hey, 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 what do you say? It's my lucky day. I had a run this morning, not feeling happy today. Hey, gonna pack my cares in a whistle and blow them all away. What if I've been unlucky? Really haven't a thing. That's the time I always feel happy, just as happy as the king, 'cause Elvis is back here to sing. We have some wonderful news, my friend, that Elvis is back in the building again. Thank you. Singing a song, when the red robin goes ba ba ba
unexpected. I mean, to take Red Red Robin and turn it into that, what would you say this group had a pretty good sense of? Or what did you get from that performance?
Uber confidence.
Uber confidence, yeah. Uber confidence. And anything else?
The ability to pull off that costuming. That was great.
That's part of the uber confidence, isn't it?
And the physicality of their moves.
The
Yeah,
physicality.
It
Yeah.
fits their personality somehow.
Yeah.
It fits their personality, exactly. And that song, you know how the original goes, right? When the red, red robin comes bobbing along. It's a kind of a barbershop standard, right?
Yeah.
What have they done? They've customized it to their personality. Like they just know so clearly who they are. You know, they get to be sweet, they get to be cool, all that stuff. But they're so clear on their personality and how they want to interact with the audience that they could take something as standard as Red Red Robin and turn it into this completely unexpected vehicle and this very odd juxtaposition of Elvis and Red Red Robin and make it work. I think I just love this example of music selection to say you kind of have to look beyond the thing that you choose and see what else you can do with it. We'll talk a little bit about that too. But that's just a fun example. Why is music selection so important? For me, I always look at music selection first as how does it showcase who we are as a group? So it can showcase your personality. Absolutely. It's part of your repertoire. It's part of the whole. And so knowing where it fits in your repertoire is also really important. Each thing that you choose is part of a repertoire building block. So we're going to talk some about that today as well. And then the third thing that we often is difficult to understand and difficult for directors and quartets is how do we choose things that showcase our skills and set us up for musical success? Because that's what music selection can do for us, or it can showcase the places that we're still challenged. And so how do we deal with that? So 3 things we're going to talk about. Who are you? What will your music say about you? What do you need in your repertoire to create an entertaining experience? And then what are you going to sing well? And then we'll talk a little bit about sourcing music and just ways the selection processes a little bit. So who are we? Audiences get to know us through the music that we sing. When you think about someone that you really admire, when you think about personality, let's say rich tone chorus, what do you think about when you think about rich tone? Are you familiar with the rich tones?
Innovative.
Precision,
Precise, yeah. Innovative,
energetic.
Cartwheels.
cartwheels, dancing. Michael Jackson, I think about that most recently. If you're here back in the day, it used to be like conga and all that dance music, Happy Feet, but conga, when they did that wedge and Dale would come at you with the hands. I just remember, I was still in my 20s then. I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm at a Beatles concert. I want to rush the stage. They're so focused on the audience, so focused on entertainment and choosing music that lets them do that. I also think about their ballads, their incredible ballads, Nightingale, Masquerade, and the heart that they put on stage. But how do we know the rich tones? We know them through their physical performance, but we know them through the music that they sang, right? When we talk about that energy, you're thinking of those dance medleys. You know, they're expressing themselves through their music. What do you think of when you think of panache?
Sweet Adeline.
Sweet Adeline. Yeah, that iconic performance of that song in that moment when we were changing the name of the organization. It was rather bold of them, but it was a love song to every member in the audience. And that was clear if you were in that arena when they were singing that. It was amazing. What else do you think of when you think of panache? I'm going way back. I should come forward in time, shouldn't I? I always think of Pam Pison's solos, all of those beautiful things. They're just that gorgeous voice. And how they chose repertoire that showcased that, because that was that was sort of their ace in the hole as a quartet, if you will. Just Pam's beautiful, warm, kind, heart filling voice. And they would choose music like If I Love Again, and that would just showcase that beautiful thing. This is my Region 26ness showing up from being on the West Coast for so long, but that's Brava Quartet. I don't know if you remember Brava, and they always sort of struggled with who are we and how will we be on stage. I only know that because I sang with them for 5 years in the middle of their run for those crowns. But they decided, hey, you know what? If we're just not really all that funny on stage, then we're going to sing funny. So they started singing things that talked about their relationship between singers. So things like, what's that one? Lynn was always leaving, or they were kicking her out. I can't remember. There were a couple songs like that. But then the one that I remember them so much for and gets requested all the time still is And So It Goes. And so Sandy, the tenor there, she has a beautiful solo voice. So they capitalized on that quite a bit too, with Sandy or Lynn taking the lead. So knowing who you are knowing who you are and what your skills are will guide you to music. Will know where music's going to work for you. Sometimes the music falls in your lap, but sometimes you need to know what your inventory of skills is before you're heading out to choose music. So things to think about: what type of music and messages do you like to sing in real life, and draw from those sources. I know, for most of my years in barbershop, I like pop music. I like country, I like folk, I like pop. Yeah, I like a lot of the popular musical styles. I'm not a big jazz person. I never really related to that. I've sung it, but some people are more into that. What kind of music do you listen to when you're around the house, that you can draw on for your barbershop life? Have an idea as a group, or if you're drawn to certain aspects of music. Some are very drawn to rhythm or drama, storytelling, emotional lyrics. When I sang with Brava, we had a member who didn't want to sing about mothers. That's fine. I was comfortable singing about mothers, but I was fine if somebody didn't want to. Not everyone has the same relationship with their mother. Like knowing the kinds of things the kinds of stories you want to tell, the kinds of, do you want to sing about jazz? Do you want to sing about marching? I know we looked at some marches and I was just like, yeah, I just can't get into that. I got nothing for that. But if we look at a fun driving up tune or a jazz influence tune, I'm okay with some of those. Let's Live It Up, Martini Sings, and those are really fun. Lots of patter, lots of rhythm. So for us, we like those kinds of songs. Ambiance really was into the whole Fats Waller repertoire, and they used that to package a lot of their music up, and it suited them really well. They had characters in the quartet that could pull those things off. You think of Shelley and her antics, or the tenor, and of course Liz Hardcastle's comedic skills. Have a look at what special skills you have in your unit. Like who's good at what. Frenzy had a diva in their midst, so they turned that into a whole career on the barbershop stage, even though they kind of opened a Pandora's box. Because I remember Judy saying, we'd like to stop doing the diva, but we can't now because the audience related to it so much. So they just kept doing it till they won. Ambiance had a comedian in their midst. We've seen quartets do things with instruments. We've seen lots of solos, like Panache having a beautiful soloist. So if you have special talents or quirks, put them to good use when you're choosing music. So just things to think about if you actually sit down with your group and sort of do an inventory of what you've got in the group, that can help you think, hey, you know, this song would be really, really good for us. Think about how you'd like to be described by audiences. So when you think about your chorus or your quartet, what are some words that pop into your mind if you're going to use a descriptor? Here, I'll give you a hand. There's a whole bunch of positive kind of personality words.
Corinna, I have a comment here in the chat
Yeah.
that said this changes in a chorus because the director might easily feel strongly about a style or genre, but the members or some of them might not feel that at all. So then we are at the crossroads of getting the chorus to buy into songs that the director loves and feels. Always an interesting balancing act.
Always. And do you know what happens? I mean, I've been a director, and I've also in Lionsgate, I know we picked music as a music team and given it to the chorus, and the choruses want to please their directors. They really do. They'll do anything for their directors. But it's so hard to hide when the chorus doesn't like a song. We had many songs die because the chorus was trying to do, but it wasn't coming from an intrinsically motivated place. It was like they were trying to do because they loved Sandy, or they were trying to do because they loved the director, but the song just dies on the vine. So I think it's better for a director to talk through these things with the music team and try to get aligned, or at least find out where the common ground is. And then choose the music. And directors do get to make those decisions, and choruses do reflect their directors like flowers moving towards the sun, you know, or after a year or so, a chorus really does kind of have the imprint of the director, but it is a very difficult line to walk because choruses will vote with their voices. I've seen that so many times. Have you guys experienced that? Just some song that gets pulled out and we try to learn it. We learn it in good faith. And I think on the way to something good at Lionsgate, which is the ballad that they took to international in the semis last time, on the way to that ballad, we must have started and stopped about 10 ballads, I think, where we just couldn't get them past a certain point because the chorus couldn't find the emotional connection to the music. It happens.
There's
Yeah.
another part that happens that you see or you hear another group sing a song and you love it, absolutely love it. And so you go, okay, we could do that. And
Yeah.
then when it's get introduced, dies on the vine. You can tell immediately that it's just not going to work. No matter how much you love the arrangement,
Right.
it's just not going to work.
And it can be a few things, like it can be this, it can be the personality piece, it can be the level of difficulty that kills it. Yeah. And just that emotional connection is really important.
Yeah, a question from I'm going to call this the peanut gallery, no disrespect. Would have a strongly developed character at the introduction of a song help a chorus latch on to that song?
I think so. Yeah. In a lot of groups, it will. I think the closer it comes to aligning with the values of your group, the messages that you enjoy singing about, and these words, these personality words, like we should be able to look at our repertoire and say, yeah, that fits us, and this is why. You know, Seasons of Love was a song that was in Lionsgate's repertoire for a couple of decades. We love that song. It's from Rent, and it's about 525,600 minutes. You know that song? It was a bit rebellious. It was about these kids. If you've seen the movie Rent, the whole chorus kind of really related to that. Those sort of outcast rebels, down and out, struggling with addiction, struggling with all kinds of different things, and they were outsiders somehow, and but their lives were filled with love. There was love. Love was the only thing that mattered, and somehow the chorus related to all of those things, from the rebel piece, from the love piece. that kind of hippie culture, if you will. I don't know. That song suited us well for many, many, many years because the chorus, the values of the chorus were aligned with the values of that lyric and that movie that it came from, or Broadway show. So if you think about your units, what would you pull out as as some words that would describe the groups that you sing in your quartet or your chorus? You can pop them into the chat or just speak it out.
I think we like to push the envelope a little edgy sometime,
Yeah.
creative as far as our international packages, I think. They're certainly diverse too in their content.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to know that so that you can look for things that align with that. Can you think of music in your repertoire that reflects that?
Well, one of the songs in our last package was Nothing Can Stop Us Now. We kind of latched on to the lyrics of that song because when we latch on to a goal, we're very driven and motivated by that goal. So it's like, get out of my way. We're trying to, we're going to accomplish something here.
Yeah.
And putting that song in the package was really fun because it had, you know, two meanings as far as the storyline and as far as our goals.
As your personal goals. Exactly. Yeah. So
Corinna,
that's a great fit. Yeah.
I have a question. So, you know, the who are you related to music, but this is kind of off on a little bit of a cul-de-sac here, but, you know, from a branding perspective, you might look at, you know, someone to describe and then compare that list, kind of what Val was asking, compare that list to maybe how people describe you. And then there's something that doesn't match. And even
Yeah.
from a musical standpoint, you know, trying to figure out how an audience would describe you with these words and how you would describe yourself and see if there's something that doesn't match.
And where are the mismatches? Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Because there's how we'd like to be seen and then there's how we are seen.
Exactly.
And it's a good idea to ask other people. Yeah, exactly. How are you seen? I know.
From a branding perspective or also from your musical choices.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think all I wanted to say was that personality, to me, personality, how you would like to be seen, how you are seen, identifying those gaps, shoring up those gaps. If you have those words in mind or you have a good idea of your sense of self, you can create something like Salt created with Red Robin because you know what you're trying to do. My Quartet Martini, we don't have that kind of, we don't have a Salt personality. We don't even have the personality you were just describing, but we use words like warm, loving. If I think about calm, we are very calm, sometimes too calm for our own good. Caring. I think we are a ballad quartet. We love ballads. We like rhythm and jazz. And we try to choose music that's going to allow us to connect in an authentic way with our audiences. But the songs you can tell from your audience's reaction, the songs that they ask for again and again are the ones that are best representing you in an authentic way to the audience as well. And for us, that turns into our ballads. It's Guacamora and it's Fix You and it's, you know, Winter Song. And so think through the songs in your repertoire and which ones are well aligned with your personality. I don't think we should have anything on our repertoire that isn't well aligned with who we want to be in a public place. The more aligned your music is, the better your opportunity to make a stronger connection with the audience. Like I said, those are the ones they're going to ask for. And probably you're going to deliver them with better musicality and as a unit, because there's not that conflict with this message isn't really one I want to sing about, or this doesn't reflect us well, and that's what directors experience, I think, when they pick a song that they love, but maybe it just doesn't sit on the chorus the right way, and it just creates that reluctance, I guess, to really dive into it, or that lack of alignment between the piece of music and the chorus. So the second thing I think about when I'm choosing a piece of music is where it's going to sit in your repertoire. Like, what is the purpose of the choosing? This is Jubilation. This is going way back, 1980s, before I was a member.
That'll be just about enough. You see, I've been good-natured about this all my life, but the fact of the matter is, I'm sick and tired of these cute little people getting all the glory. You know what I mean. It's those beautiful women who are 40 and they look like they're 20 because they're cute and petite, while I've been paying full fare in the movies since I was 7. And how about all those people who come up to me and say, "Do you play basketball?" And I've always wanted to respond, "No, do you play miniature golf?" Well, what if I am 5'14"? The fact of the matter is, it's time to strike back. I told the quartet that I wanted to do this next song as a solo for moi because I am who I am. Dun 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 dun. Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason to live. Got no reason. They've got little hands, little eyes. They walk around telling great big lies. They've got little noses and tiny little teeth. They wear platform shoes on their nasty little feet. Well, I don't want no short people. Don't want no short people. Don't want no short people around here. Da, da, da.
That's Jubilation. That's probably the year they won. That's Pat Rituro from Melodiers, and Karen Bridert standing beside her making the little disgruntled baritone noises. But again, they used a physical attribute to figure out this song, but they also needed a singer who could take over the bass while the bass was singing the melody, because the tall member had to sing that. But I mean, it's pretty obvious why they got to that song. But again, one of their most requested songs because of its place in their repertoire and because of its fit to their personality and their attributes. So what do we need in our repertoires? This is something I've always done. I hope you guys do it too as directors and quartet members. Is we used to call it the grid when I was directing West Coast Harmony. You put the song on the grid. If we were talking about a new song, it's like, what is its place in our repertoire? Do we need it? Have we got already lots of openers or lots of ballads? That's what we do in Martini. It's always like, we got too many ballads. We're looking for an uptune. Have you got closers? Have you got your competition numbers? You need to have those in your repertoire if you're in the competition cycles. Have you got swing, uptune ballads? Do you have a variety of tempos in the repertoire? Do you have any sort of showstoppers or things that you can really do to showcase everything that the group is capable of right now? Have you got novelty or comedy like that song we just watched? Have you got soloists that you'd like to showcase or feature? So when you're choosing repertoire, it's really useful to know what you're going to be doing with it. So that is that also helps you narrow down the search when you look at your repertoire as a body and say, you know, we haven't really got a strong opener, or we've been doing this opener for 10 years now. Could we get another one? And then that narrows your search and helps. Anything that narrows the search, your personality, your values, the messages you want to sing about, what you need in your repertoire helps. Otherwise, it's overwhelming. There's millions of songs out there. Where are you going to be performing? So parties, churches, seniors facilities, fairs, holiday events, then there's going to be some songs that you need in your repertoire, like birthday songs. So other things you need to think about, a mix of uptunes and ballads. For emotional range, we can get very comfortable in one emotional range, and we need to explore others as well that suit us. Things that are recognizable for the audience. Audiences love to hear things that they know. So if you're into fringe music or music that maybe isn't well known, make sure that you've only got make sure that most of what's in your repertoire will be recognizable.
Corinna,
So the
there was
audience.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Just
No, that's okay.
a comment from the chat about the new song assessment tool that is going to change, maybe eliminate some of your songs that you already have in your repertoire.
I think, yeah, it could. If you're still singing Dixie jazz songs, those kinds of songs are definitely going away. And I do have a slide in here just about that. We do need to research all of the music that we choose. So recognizable music, there are a few that fall into that category. But what we're finding with the song assessment tool is most songs they're fine. You know, you're doing the research. If you know where they're from and know their history, they're coming through okay. But there are a number of standards that are going to go away. I watched a video recently. It was a video about the UK contest, and they were showing the different competitors crossing the stage. Every single song that was sung pretty much was like, okay, yeah, can't sing that one. No, don't sing that one. It's just like it's so immersed in this art form because it's such an old art form, and it comes from a time when there's a lot of inappropriate music. So I'm glad that we're dealing with it. But yeah, that's definitely a piece of choosing repertoire as well. Think about when you're choosing choreography numbers, that you're going to have to maintain that choreography. That is a difficult thing to do. You've got to allocate time in your rehearsals for both of those things to be maintained. So you don't want all choreography numbers in your repertoire, for example. Diversifying musical genres is good. So if you are like me, you know, really into pop music, well, you know, put some other things in the repertoire as well, so that the audience is entertained with a variety of things. And as a courtesy, I do try to avoid whether other groups in my region are already singing, if they're in my area particularly, and we're doing public performances and drawing the same crowds. We don't want to all be singing the same songs. There's lots of songs out there. When I'm assembling a performance, this is kind of a way, a formula, if you will, and it also helps you see what you need. Like if you got an opener, we talked about that. An opener should be something with a great intro. It's an exciting start to the performance. It's usually upbeat. It would be unusual to start a performance with something that's slow. You know, we're going to get to know we're going to introduce ourselves to the audience with this opener. So upbeat, positive, energizing, and then something that's going to reinforce that opener to follow it. So it's still, it's pretty upbeat as well, the second one, I think. It could be a little bit slower tempo or something, but we usually use another uptune in the second one. Often it's a barbershop uptune for the second one. And then you can start to slow it down once they get to know you a little bit. So a ballad or a solo or a swing tune or something that changes the energy. So we're looking for a journey for the audience that's got a lot of variety, emotional variety in it as well. But we don't keep it low for too long. That's why we're always looking for uptunes, because we like ballads, but we do need to bring the energy back up after the ballad. So usually we'll put another uptune in here. Or maybe a comedy or a novelty song. Like this is a long performance. This is 30 minutes. If you've only got a few, then you're going to do something, probably a couple of uptunes, a ballad or a novelty, and then some kind of a closer. But after the comedy or novelty song, that's what you just heard from Jubilation. Another uptune. A second last song, a showstopper. Now that doesn't have to be an uptune, but something that's really connecting with the audience, because now they've gotten to know you. They kind of know something about you. You've spoken a couple of times. You've sung a lot of different music that tells them about you. And so we sometimes put a ballad there because we like ballads. And then a closer that's got a great tag. So I look at the intros and the tags when we're choosing the front and the back song. Does anyone else have any kind of a formula that they use for performances like this? Or do you think about your performances like this? When we're choosing music, it's always in the context of the repertoire. What do you need in the repertoire? And then how are you going to put together a performance with the piece that you're choosing? So thinking ahead to how it'll be used.
I
Yeah.
think the audience will dictate some of the music that you put in there.
It will.
You know, singing "I Want to Live Till I Die" at a nursing home is probably not appropriate.
Been there,
Yeah.
done that.
Oh no, I want to live. Well, it could be good for a nursing home, really, just to remind them to keep going. Sometimes, yeah, I have thought about that in the context of my own family. Sometimes, just like, keep living. It's not here yet. Yeah. So yes, there are things like that. You do need to think about who your audience is. You're probably not going to sing a hymn anywhere except for a religious audience, like in a church or somewhere. You're probably not going to sing the anthem in a regular performance, but if you were there for Independence Day or Canada Day, then you would. But so this is a typical Martini performance. Come on, get happy. It's got a fun opening. Come on, world is a song that we're singing. It just feels like a hello, hey, how are you? Let's have a good day. And then we do My Baby, which has got a lot of tailored words in it and lyrics, and it makes the audience laugh. And so that's good. And then we go straight to a ballad that features Michelle in a solo. So that's kind of fun. We pick it up with an uptune, a Muppet uptune, and then one of our novelty songs. And they're not, novelty doesn't have to be comedy. Canada's really big as comedy, but Bumblebee is just a really interesting real group tune that sounds like fluttering wings while we sing about a bumblebee. It's sort of an oddball song, but that's a good place. There's an example of one song that the audience really probably doesn't know, but might find interesting. We don't want to introduce that too soon. We want to wait till they get to know us and then introduce that. Simple Life is an uptune. Sailing is a ballad, actually, in that showstopper place, but it's got these chord progressions at the end that really kind of raise the hair on your neck. So that's why we put that there. And then we end with something with a really fun tag. So just an idea of when you're thinking about the music to think about how you're assembling the performance. And are there any questions there or any comments? Now we're going to get into the music judgy part of the song, just to give you some technical ideas about what will you sing well. So suitability is something that we talk about in the music category a lot, but it's appropriate to think about it for all of our repertoire. Does the song fit you? Is it going to show off what you do well, and is it going to not necessarily reveal to the audience everything about you? Are you going to be able to hide the things that you don't want them to see? Not hide them, but they're under construction still. So suitability of the performer is a music category concept, and it speaks to the piece of music that you choose and how well it fits the skill set that you have today. So where you are in your vocal journey dictates really how complex the music that you can sing successfully. It just does. When we start out singing, we don't start out singing something really complex. We're learning Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, so we can learn about the fifth interval. So same thing when we start out singing as a new unit, or our vocal skills are under construction. We want to sing music that's going to help us be successful. It affects all the categories, and still only the music judge who writes about it when you're competing. But the thing is, are you showing off your strengths? So at every level, try to choose music that shows off what you do today. And I just included this performance list of the elements in just the music category, because all of these skills here, all of tempo, rhythm, unity, phrasing, dynamics, energy, it's all impacted by how well do you do these things here at the top of the list. How well can you sing? How much command do you have of your instrument? And then how accurately do you sing? And that drives everything else below it in the list. But vocal skills in every category drive success in that part of the performance. And so I'm talking about our judging category, but I'm really talking about every song you sing, even if we were talking about Kokomo or a Beach Boy song or some other repertoire song. The vocal skills are going to drive your success in every aspect of the performance. So suitability is really an important thing to think about. So what makes a song or an arrangement easier? So some things to look for. If you're a director of a C+, B- level chorus, and you're looking for music that's going to be interesting for your singers, but still manageable, you need to take an inventory of where you're at musically, your vocal skills, and then think about these things while you're assessing music, like the melody. If the melody doesn't have a lot of sharps and flats in it, that means it's built on the diatonic. If it's in a major scale, the major scale. So you don't want to see a ton of accidentals in the melody if you're looking for something that's easy. When I say accidentals, I mean sharps, flats, natural signs. It should be pretty straightforward, the melody. And we want nice, smooth, singable part lines for everybody, because a lot of leaping around makes things difficult. You want to know the ranges of the voices of each of the singers in your unit, so quartet or chorus. Where is everybody most comfortable? Where does everybody shine in their vocal capability? And try to choose music that keeps people primarily in that optimal part of their voice. When we push people outside of their comfort zone too often, then we get into strain, we get into tension, we get into tuning issues. And those things all make audiences uncomfortable, right? So by keeping ourselves in a comfortable range, we're going to keep the audience in a comfortable position as well. Make sure when you're choosing tempo and rhythm songs that those are well understood by the group. If you know you're not a great backbeat director, then choose downbeat songs. You know, if you do have a great sense of backbeat and you're willing to teach that to the chorus, then go ahead and choose those things at any level. But we do need to understand the tempos and the rhythms. If syncopation is puzzling to you, then don't choose jazzy numbers. You know, choose something that's going to be more march-like, maybe, that doesn't have all of that syncopation or jumped rhythms in it. So make sure that the group understands the rhythms that you're choosing. Key changes are often, they add a level of difficulty to a song. So you can eliminate key changes or make sure the key change is simple. Something that just sort of slides up the half tone as opposed to having a complicated approach. Embellishments, look at the embellishments. If there are a ton of embellishments, often that can be taxing on the performer. The one that always comes to mind is, if I give my heart to you, will you handle it with care? Every single phrase has a series of echoes and chords on it that I find it's actually it can be a pretty good song for a B- level chorus, but you need to know that those embellishments are going to tax your breath, and you need to have a plan for that. In a chorus, that might be sneak breathing or a message that's appropriate to the performing group. So that's important. Make sure that when you see 20-year-olds singing, "I've been waiting for your phone call for 18 years," and you think, well, that doesn't really sit very well on them. You know, they've been waiting since they were 2. Those kinds of things. You just make sure that the message suits the group that's choosing it. Physical and energy demands that match your abilities. So stamina. Some of these big up tunes or ballads like the one I just mentioned, actually, with all the embellishments at the ends of every phrase, those can really tax your stamina. So be aware when you're choosing a song that those things will make the song harder. So if you're looking for something easier, then think about that aspect of it, how your chorus or quartet's going to handle that. Lots of opportunities to breathe, or ways that you can make opportunities to breathe. That's really important as well. So those are some things that make a piece of music easier. You know, try to avoid the accidentals, keep the part line smooth, make sure everyone's singing in a good range, make sure you understand the tempos and rhythms well. Embellishments and key changes, keep them to a minimum, and then figure out ways that you can feed the instruments so that they're not overtaxed by the time you get to the end of the song. I'm going to play you an example of a chorus singing a pretty demanding uptune. I just want you to think about this list and what in this song maybe Well, compare this song to this list. Now, I think we know where that goes from there. But in terms of this list, what are the challenges in that song for that? That's a C plus B minus cusp group. So that's about a 60, that score.
I've got a couple of things in here. I have one large question, but in response to what you just asked, Beth has got tempo is not understood by all, physical energy not matching the group. There's sync issues.
Yeah, synchronization. If you listen to that melody, I love your loving arms, they hold a world of charms, a place to nestle when I am lonely. Even that's a very rangy melody for one thing. So it's putting the leads out of their good range, and there's some big jumps in there that are hard to tune.
Lots of embellishments.
A lot of really challenging embellishments, and people coming in at different times. All right, it's a bass in, or it's a lead in, or it's a, yeah. So rhythmic breathing is so important, right? I think that it's a kind of song that if you hear it at a very high level, it's a very complicated arrangement. There's some tempo changes that are coming up as well. Some smart things that they did is they did a simpler intro. They simplified the intro a lot. So that was good. That made it easier for them to execute. But it's just an example of choosing a song that puts you into a struggle mode instead of something where you could just simply demonstrate what you're already doing well. Because there's a lot of really good stuff going on there that gets them up to the top of C plus, and almost into B minus. But the song is actually preventing them from having a better performance experience, I think, the arrangement.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you one more time. There's a lengthy question in here from Valerie. She's talking about feeling about refreshing the rep of the group. Certain songs should be left behind, new ones brought in. The group grows musically, certain songs should be left behind, or introduce songs that challenge the singers. Not, I mean, at some point you got to challenge your singers to make them grow. Make sure that you're singing songs that reflect the best of your abilities.
Exactly.
Right, Val, was that a good condensation of what you wrote?
Yes, make sure you're singing songs that reflect the best of your abilities for the most part. There will be stretches in every song. Even like side by side, you'll hear a lot of groups at C plus C sing that one. Oh, we ain't got a barrel of money. Maybe we're ragged and funny. It's a pretty smooth melody, and it goes an octave. That's quite a nice, and everyone's in a good range and everything, and the tempo is pretty easy to understand and follow. There is one section that is through all kinds of weather, what if the sky should fall? And those are mostly minor chords. So it's not really this built on the diatonic major scale. And you always hear it go out of tune there for a moment in the lowest level groups, and then it'll all come back into tune. But there's a little project, right? those 8 bars are a little project for the chorus, perhaps. Or there can be some other challenge in the song. No song is going to be perfectly simple, or, you know, we're not going to find it all that exciting either sometimes. But yeah, so you're right, Valerie. You do need to balance the understanding what makes it easier. And even when you're going through this list, if you say, you know, what makes it harder, chromatic melodies, jumpy part lines, you know, then if you're choosing something that's got some of these things in it, but is primarily an easier song, what can you do with that? Is how can you enable the chorus to take that sort of next step into understanding how to tune a minor chord, or, you know, how to deal with tricky rhythms, techniques for getting that across to the singers, how to create more opportunities to breathe. And then that's the last thing I think you do is tailor arrangements. When you've got something that really is meeting most of the things in that easy list, find an arranger or become an arranger, whatever you need to do. But sometimes you can do something like that chorus that we just listened to did, where they took an intro as that really hard ramp up intro and they put an easy intro on it. That was smart. It didn't help them with all the other challenges in the song, but sometimes it's the original parts, the intro or the tag, that are the difficult areas. Sometimes there's a big old key change in the middle that you don't want to do. So get someone to take it out, you know, so that you carry on in the same key. Sometimes it needs a key change to become interesting. If you're trying to make it harder, or you're trying to create interest in the last 2/3 of the song or third of the song, you know, so you can make those adjustments. Embellishments can be altered if they're really just too difficult for the group or taking you out of range. So definitely customize and tailor those songs. Most arrangers are fine with that. You as a courtesy, though, it's nice to let arrangers know that you're doing that. Personally, I don't care what people do. Once they've got it in their hands, it's theirs, and they need to make it theirs. But not everybody feels that way. Most arrangers though are fine. Do you have enough places to breathe? I think this is another place where it's easy to make rhythmic adjustments or lyric adjustments to give you the air you need. Some groups are very focused on making these big long phrases, but it's not, there's no award for it. You know, don't be afraid to chop things up so that you can get the breath. The vocal production, the vocal skills are the most important thing, and you need to figure out how to support those. Learning how to sneak breathe at the C+ level is really important, because this is something I hear a lot when choruses are struggling with stamina, is getting in and out of the phrase without trying to be the hero that makes it to the end of the phrase, but getting in and out of the phrase invisibly. As a director, I always told the chorus, I don't care how you do it. I mean, I'll teach you how to do it, but if I don't know you're doing it, then you're doing it right. You know, as long as I don't notice it, then you're good. Or someone in the pit doesn't notice it. We don't need those holes in our sound. And then little lyric adjustments are okay if that helps to make something your own, like Salt did at the beginning, you know, with the Elvis bits, or you know, putting your quartet name in the song. That's always kind of fun, and audiences appreciate that. They appreciate local references or ways that you can bring them into your performance. So don't be afraid to tailor things for you. So that's all around choosing music that shows off your current skill set. And I know I have about 5 minutes left. So I can't emphasize how important this is. It affects every part of your performance. If the song is singing you, that will affect the audience, just their level of comfort for you. And even the not necessarily the barbershop audience, right? But the out in the community audience, they love hearing the easy songs that you sing well. You know, I can think of a chorus I used to coach a lot, and they sing. I said Kokomo earlier. That Aruba, da 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 da. I don't know the words. All the islands in the Caribbean that the Beach Boys get to visit. It's got a really nice, smooth melody. It's got really easy little harmonies around it. they sing it so well. They sound like a level higher than they are singing something really easy, and they love it. You can tell that they love it as well. So it's aligned somehow with their personality, and their emotional connection to it is really good. It's just a simple song, but their audiences really love it. So choosing music that shows off your current skill set, you'll get rewarded in lots of ways. Don't be afraid to tailor it. Find people who can help you tailor it. There are lots of people out there, and find people who have registered in the ACP. Maybe they'd like to try out their skills and help you out. And as your skill set grows, your vocal skill set particularly, so will your musical options. So don't despair. Choose small stretches for now, but as you continue to get the vocal skills up, keep focusing on building the foundation, then you're going to be able to choose music that's got a lot more challenges in it as well. And I know that's a frustration at the developing levels, but it will come. It will come. Just stay focused on it.
Corinna, I have a question for you when you're talking
Sure.
about tailoring things and, the group and whatever. How long, just, I'm not going to hold you to it, but how long do you give before you say, let's deep six this song? It's a goner. And this is a kickoff from Valerie wrote in there, why sing bad songs? If you can't sing them, just get rid of them. There's so many songs, so little time.
Exactly.
So what do you give? How long do you give to grow into a song and then finally just go, this is not for us, we need to get rid of this?
A few months, probably a couple of months. In a regular rehearsal scenario, like we usually gave the chorus a few weeks to be off paper. So we get that far before we deep sixed it, and usually give it a few more weeks just to see if it will come together. Like, it should gel once people are off paper. It should start to gel, and if you're never getting that gelling, by the third month, usually the director falls out of love with it, and then the song is dead. So I don't know, 3 months seems like a good 12 weeks if you're off paper in the first month. Like you need to get it memorized so that the director can take it somewhere else, because when everyone's holding the paper and not really looking at what she's trying or they're trying to get into the plan, that's difficult. So I'd say a few months. Yeah, don't give it a year. I mean, that's too long.
This is Beth. I found that with Millennium, if it, we know the typical learning, like how long it takes to learn a new song, and if it takes much longer than that, that's an initial indicator that you might not the song, or the song just isn't feeling good. And usually we should be fine on vocal ranges. Check that before we buy something, but we use that as an early indicator that this might not be something worthwhile going forward with.
Right, exactly. And there are so many songs, like Valerie said, like there's so many ways to go forward. Yeah. I'm going to show you just quickly. This is something that Martini does. It's probably more useful for quartets than choruses, although I had a spreadsheet like this as a director as well. And we put whatever we want into this spreadsheet. We have a Google spreadsheet that we all share. And we put our repertoire wishes in there. Sometimes this is a very, very old version. And we try to describe it to the other singers. We say what it is. We give a link to a YouTube performance or something so people can look at it. And then maybe some ideas of where it would fit in our repertoire. So reference back to that grid, where there might be arrangements out there, and we don't build this out until we've done this. So this is each of us, Michelle, Shannon, Deanne, and myself, voting. And if we get something that everything is green on, we'll pursue it and we'll decide what a next step should be. But we all have veto power. So you can see I vetoed the first one. I didn't want to sing it. I can't remember why. Oh, because Lionsgate was going to pick it up, I think. So I just said no. But we don't even talk about it. If somebody vetoes it, we take the veto very seriously. We just delete it from the spreadsheet and we move on, because there are hundreds of songs. And we're not going to spend time debating. When people say I'll sing it if everybody else wants to sing it, those tend to linger in the sheet as well. We really look for this kind of a response. Everybody says, oh yeah, I really want to sing that song. And we did get an arrangement. We got Melody Hines to do one for us, and we recorded it. So it's just a good way for us as a distance quartet. We were kind of forced into it. And do be prepared to kiss a lot of frogs, like learn a lot of, sight read a lot of previews, because that's going to help you understand too what works for your voices and what songs you get excited about. You can almost know in the reading session, even if you don't sight read, but if you can kind of stumble through a bit of it or talk through a bit of it or listen to learning tracks or something, you'll get an idea of where that song's going to work for you. There. So lots of places to source it from, more and more these days. Sheet Music Plus has got a huge inventory. It's narrowing it down. So the part that's overwhelming usually is figuring out how to get to this stage. We tried this in Lionsgate Chorus. We had way too many options. This has got to be like 20 songs that you're choosing from. So it does help to be looking for something. So knowing who you are, knowing what you need in your repertoire, and then you can start assessing like things, you can start listing songs. And then when you're looking at arrangements, look and make sure that they're going to showcase what you do well already. So, and this was.
I hate to interrupt, sorry, but you guys,
Yeah.
Has the 5-minute warning been given because
Yes.
you're over time?
I'm
now?
done. I'm done. I'm just,
Yeah, okay.
So that's
Okay,
it.
so, yeah, so thank you, Corinna. And what, two things I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna throw in the evaluation. And if you could take time to put that up there. And then I'm also gonna like promote my own course here for a little bit. And we
Sure.
are selling.
Hey, Cheryl, I already put the information, the PDF in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you. Well, I also put the link.
Good. No, that's good.
Corinna, are we going to have access to your PowerPoint?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'll do a PDF and send it to Patty.
Great,
Well,
thank you.
all the recordings will be available for every class too. So you could always go back and watch it.
I don't want to listen to it again. I just want to fill in the blanks in my notes.
Yes, I'll have the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
Except I decided today I need to give a class on how to navigate the region's website. So
Okay, I'm going to ask one further question because I've heard it both ways. Is it Corinna or Corinna?
Corinna.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know it's spelled Corinna, but it's Corinna.
Nothing worse than calling somebody by their wrong name.
How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Garriock. I know the O. You don't say the O, so it's Garriock.
Yeah.
Corinna Garriock. Yeah, I'm so used to
Thank you,
hearing
ma'am.
it so many ways. I don't even notice.
Well, much appreciated. It was a wonderful class. Hopefully everybody's taking away some good stuff from it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all the questions.
thanks, Corinna. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Kathy, you want to go ahead and stop the recording and then I'll take back the host?
Yes, ma'am.